Quick, like and subscribe in the next 4 seconds if you want good luck every day this week.
I asked him to screen share his desktop one night, and he said that he's never recording because Shadowplay makes him lag. The irony about this is that Zuky has a good PC and even used Discord overlaying on me. The fact that his friend group is starting to do good in tournaments with...
Absolutely. I mean, we're just talking about Zuky in a little break there, trying to do a little homework on him, and it turns out that this is one of his actually second only grand final appearances, his first victory he's ever taken in a grand final stage. So that in his own is a feat. It seems like Shayo, he's only ramping up time and time again now. Trying to find an opportunity here because Zuki's on a whole different level here. The low ground peak Shayo, he's not missing at all. And another one for Zuky is going to connect onto Crumbler.
Oh my God, I would say one of the most impressive games I've ever seen of Fortnite. And it was... I have to assume that player up top is scented. I don't want to hard confirm it, but...
Bugha, though, with the big beams, he's jumping in aggressively. And the crash back from up above. Here, we're jumping in with Unknown, though. He's got control of these walls. He's on the other side of Daxter.
Hey, Fortnite Moments fans. Want more V-Buck giveaways? Make sure to use code BEAST in the item shop. And we'll continue to give out redemption codes just like this. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications so you don't miss out.
Here we are, Shayo. We're back with the DreamHack Open. It's Monster D-Face, Shayo Wager, bringing all the action for NA East. There's 6 games in front of us, Shayo, and everything will be unfolding quickly now as the battle bus is underway. We're hopping off here with game number 1, $250,000 in the air, up for grabs. Let's see who's going to take the biggest piece tonight.
Yeah, players are in the air as well, touching down and setting the tone for the entire tournament. These next 6 games we're going to be watching. As Monster said, it is the first one. It is the DreamHack Open. And right now, the questions that are raised are, who has authority over the server? Who's landing at that spot? Who has that shockwave launcher at Caddy Corner? And what does Holly Hedges, Slurpee Swamp, all these other kind of secondary spots look like that have a lot of loot coming out of them?
And that's right. Let's not forget the DreamHack is typically on an international scale. You have players like Epic Whale cross-competing from the NA West region. And of course, in good fashion, he's going to be landing there at the Authority as well. It is contested, several other players nearby. On the bottom half, other side of the map, it's Dirty Docks. That's a super hot spot as well. I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or so players here, and it's an early battle between Cobalt and Ethical, and Ethical's going to take the best of them with a quick pump shot.
Cobalt taken out early, game 1 of the grand finals. This man is so consistent at hitting the top charts in semis and opens. Unfortunately, though, not really finding his footing here in the first iteration, the first kind of a look into his games overall in grands. But moving over to that big top spot, this is not near the water. This is near glory, I would say, near anyone who always gets first place at endgame. It's Caddy Corner, and for me, I think it's Kiox on NA East holding it down against the EU legend as well, Thomas. None of these guys have lost this POI against their enemies on their respective regions.
Yeah, and they both did it well throughout the opens as well. So now it's about who is going to be the best of the best today when it actually matters. Of course, Thomas got the disadvantage, but he's playing with the aggro, trying to get into the box, trying to make it close quarter so he can win. Oh! And yes, that's why. Hedging all of his bets on the big shot. And he did that with a gray charge shotgun.
All right, so EU won. NA 0 for Caddy Corner, and possibly even for wins in total, because if it's Thomas HD with that mythic loot, this might be a GG absolutely already. Right now, we talked about it in the pre-show a little bit, but it's Peacock over at his hometown.
That's right, it's that Holly Hedges, and we talked about Peacock having the advantage typically here because he plays it so well. This is his backyard, it's his playground, and look, he's just pushing off Xer, making it quick and easy work. This is why he's so aggressive too. He does this consistently. If you watch his gameplay, you study up on his style. He lands at one house, he takes whatever it is that he gets, and he makes it work from here forwards. And I mean, he's bullying off Xer right now.
Yeah, Xer really on the back tail, and this is the reason no one really wants to contest Peacock and why he has such an easy time at Holly. He will push you down to the ends of the earth, making sure you're not going to return, but Xer gets the receipt. He gets the slip and an address on exactly where Peacock's going to be landing next game, winning the first fight.
Overconfident, overdoes it there and oversteps his mark, and now he gets punished for doing so. That's going to be a tough one for Peacock. We talk about momentum, how players are going to be setting the tone for themselves. That is the worst case scenario. Early game taken out, no points being made. Still 96 remain in this game as things are just getting started. That's an early taste, a beginning look at what is going to unfold each of the POIs here. But it makes me wonder if places like Dirty Docks had 6 players on it, there's got to be some seriously free drop spots all around. This not being one of them. Bugha versus Edgy versus Tautai already in this early game.
As his Frenzy Farm, which can sometimes be a little bit of a hub for rotations. I believe Edgy drops somewhere near here, if not just over at the Orchard. But if he is the man landing at Frenzy Farm, if you're here for a bit too long, people might be able to rotate right past you. And then after that, you're going to have a tough time if you don't have the timing right for your early game loot drops. But they're not going to be fighting just yet. Right on the north side is Joji versus his opponent in a box fight. A V, always the man interrupting people's rotations.
That's right. And let's not forget, this is game number 1, ladies and gentlemen. So it's just getting started. If you're tuning in with us, it's starting to get heated now. Players are starting to drop. Action is going down across the Fortnite world. And here it is. Joji looking to secure his points early in the competition. That's going to be a quick 5. And off he goes. I mean, that's a tough one for him too, though. Expending so much of his little bit of shield and mats that he had. Now it's going to be a matter of, can he play off the land? Such a scavenger loot route that he's going to have to make work somehow.
All right. Is it opposite day? Because the man Aviv, who usually has the elimination here at Triple Rock, on Young Calculator sometimes, I believe it's Joji who's qualified and at the spot now, though, at least at this moment, is taken out of the game. Now Joji, a box fighter who's really good at starting off fights fast and strong, is on the back end against Edgy in this one-on-one. Edgy has all the marbles in this fight right now. He's just on the chase, trying to get Joji down, and in midair, he gets that beam down. Joji's taken out.
That's exactly what I was talking about. Just not having the materials to really sustain a long-winded battle. That early game fight lasted a little too long. You know it's a long fight when it's concluding and the zone is now starting to close. That first zone takes about 2 or 3 minutes already. So all that investment just to get the attention drawn towards him. On the other side, though, we bring our focus to the sensor just a few blocks away here. It's Epic Whale at the Authority. Epic does not have the mythic loot, so he's not in full control of the drop spot, not just yet. Player on Height's probably going to be the one who secured the goods here. Let's take a look as he's going on up.
I have to assume that player up top is scented. I don't want to hard confirm it, but haven't seen many other players. I mean, we've seen a bunch, but of recently in NA East, putting down the love for EMAT in their gamer tags. Still Bugha rotating by 2. The earnings just on your screen right now. Absolutely massive.
That's how it is. This is that mid game, that early game lead up here. Epic just trying to take big control of this bridge here. It's not something I actually see very often, the perspective of Epic Whale so early. So still very interesting to see how he works without the mythic loot. On the other side, though, Avery versus Liquid Stretch. Liquid Stretch, 200 HP on defense. Avery tagged down to 28. So I can only assume that the low ground peaks were in his favor. Rocket shots coming in from a boat off in the distance. And that's going to work against Avery this time around. That player looks like he doesn't want to stop. He's still in the water there. You can see him spinning back and forth on the map. Now the low ground peak, though. Stretch gets punished big by Avery. Who's going to win the exchange now? rockets are coming in, and Stretch is closest to the RPG fire.
Stretch took a shot. Avery is looking to just get these wide angles down and land one charge shotgun. Missed 3 so far. Still is not able to wrap up the fight with Stretch. Stretch taking another shot all the way from across the way. I'm not sure who actually, it was Stretch who ends up taking Avery out. Jock is now in the fight. Zuky is landed down, taking out Stretch from the boat. What a messy fight on the edge of the entire Fortnite map.
And just like that, Stretch still with the ridiculous low ground peak is at least going to give him a point for his hard-earned efforts, but Zuki's the one that makes this such a nasty fight with that boat and then slipping in so late to the action. Jock, though, with the boat here, he's got the angle, beaming down the shots. Can he land 1 or 2? That's a big tag right there. And this is looking like it's not the NA East region. That's what DreamHack will do to you, though, when you mix in a little bit of NA West, a little bit of EU, a little bit of the LATAM community. All of a sudden now we have the action in the NA East region, which normally at this time there'd probably be a lot more players alive and or not as many engagements, big engagements like this.
It's just weird. I'm looking at a game where P-God is not going to be there in game 1, losing off spawn. I'm looking at a game 1 in NA East where Keox did not win the Shockwave launcher, and Thomas HD, who usually does win it, doesn't have it, as Flick is the man controlling everyone in the end game. And then we also have Aviv not being able to get someone down off of triple rock. Saf is also in this game at Sweaty Sands. The man who always controls this, switching spots with the man who has that crash pad and actually blocking off a bunch of bullets. Gets 1 tag shot down on him though, so has to be very careful for the rest of the crash pads that will come through. Castery's on his wall. Saf, 1 shot, taken 2 to the head, 3. Castery takes him out.
EU2, NA0. Once again, EU steps up with the aggression. Castery against all odds onto Saf. My gosh, making things exciting here. But now it's Bugha v Acorn in the pinch here. Bugha forced to heal up on the other side. It's the FNCS champion. Is that Coop himself looking in, trying to get a piece of the action? Bugha, though, with the big beams, he's jumping in aggressively. And the crash pad from up above catches Acorn on the way out the door, and that's going to be it for him.
Aerial dynamics unmatched. Bugha just keeps up on all different axes of fire. Gets that shot down. First elimination of the game. Coop just watches by, taking everything into account. This has to be one of the most high-profile games I've ever seen. Some of the craziest engagements that you can not really find anywhere else. Vikura, the man who's so consistent at staying in competition, follows that pattern, flips it on over to Divine, who gets taken out in a blink of an instant.
Let's not forget Likura, as you guys may or may not know, did qualify for the grand finals that just happened on NA East. So you got to give some respect, putting himself amongst the Titans, the best of the best, the top 100. And a crazy qualification run for himself. But now, though, it's Chaz who's on our screen here, who's making a rotate. He got tagged up a few times for white HP. Can only assume that that was the results of some stinkers, possibly someone pushing from behind now. Scary spot to be in. And yes, that's what it was. That's a marauder or something back there.
It has to be, right? Because I was about to say, is there a new item that does direct health damage that we can't see? That'd be a little bit scary. But yeah, Chaz 72. I'm pretty sure stinks do 5 per second, so I'm not actually sure what's going on here, but whatever it is, he is looking good now, at least.
On the bottom, though, it's Shadow looking to do something big now. No shield on the inventory. Such a Monka-esque situation. He's got to be super nervous, but he is going to find some minis. What a lucky find for him, just moving down the beach here, cruising to find some leftover loot. 29 damage below the Storm Surge threshold. That's a major problem. 1 minute and 45 seconds remain before he has to do something big. On the other side, Chaz is at 130 above, and they're looking like they're going to be crossing paths here soon. Shadow has to take this fight here.
There's no other option. We've seen, though, Chaz is really kitted. His loadout's looking nice. So it's going to be hard for Shadow to move through. Even getting up here is going to take a few mats of just protection. Could be people coming behind him, too, very late from the storm, but it doesn't look like it right now. Shadow's moving up. Actually gets a little bit of opposition from in front of him, all the way up on that hill. So now we know there's a third party in play. Shadow could shoot that guy on the mountain, or he could just go for this box fight onto Chaz. These guys are barely in zone, and there is a timer running out for Shadow to actually do damage for Storm Surge.
That's right, and that player in the distance was Snazy. So look at that, the cone control here as he jumps in, and now Chaz with nothing behind him. Okay, he throws the ramp down, and now he's backing up. Shadow's looking to push through this. The shot exchange through the wall, and Shadow gets tagged here. The boost through, though, it was too predictable, and he gets tagged big with the big 75, and yes, there it is. He gets finished up and wrapped up, and now just Chaz manages to survive with 49 HP. I don't even know how you do that, but he made it work. He's alive somehow, some way.
He was prepped for what was coming through, and I think after he got the elimination, it was Snazy who actually beamed him all the way down, past more damage. So I feel like he survived, luckily, both the third party and the box dive. I was going to say that his entire kit, though, might take some damage on the amount of shields he'll have left over, but he's sitting around so many open chests. He's basically operating with 6 different inventory slots, has the minis that were left over on the ground, so he's going to be looking good for the rest of the game. But that rest of the game is looking stacked. Just look over at the mini map on Crumble's POV. Everyone's already situated center zone on this upcoming circle that's here for Fortnite, and Storm Surge is active. 4 people need to go down. Crumble is moving through the circle as Surge is active. Very, very risky decision, but it's working out so far for him.
Definitely an interesting decision here, but I respect it. He's trying to go for center zone so he can get that favorable fourth. I mean, someone's been doing their homework on how to position up coming into zone number 3. If you see the opportunity, you take it. I mean, this is the time players are most likely to be passive as well, right? If they're already in the base. And just like that, Cast 3 tries to do the same and gets punished so bad by it. Everyone turtles on in and lands their shots. It's edgy, class, Crumbler, Turts, Commandment. Just the perfect star way, like fire range right there. It's over.
I'm going to call that the council of center zone, because they're basically sitting like they're at a table. They're watching for any tags. And if you make a mistake like Castry did, regardless of what your ping is, you're going to be taken out. Council will decide who ends up moving into zone 2. We have some board members like Aspect sitting on the outer edges of that circle. A majority of the entire lobby is not inside the safe zone. 69 players left alive. I can only really count about 20 or 30 who are safe at the moment.
Aspect goes with the big snipe, and it's a body shot that's going to take out Crunchy there, who was having such a great day. And now get the brakes put on him really quickly here. He gets shut down. Is Aspect going all the way over there for some loot? Like, what do you really need right now that you have to cross? I'm assuming, I guess, the medium bullets and everything else. But my gosh, this is probably the longest run I've seen someone go for an impact pickup in the early game.
We'll tone it down a bit. We kind of see exactly where people came through and hid from the entire council of the center zone. It's in the Forest of Weeping Woods. It's so stacked, box to box, shoulder to shoulder with players. OMG, me too. Every single player, big name or not. Game 1 is where you can really just differentiate yourself from the pack in these 6 games that we're playing today. So any name you see on your screen could be there. But remember, it's people from EU, NA West, NA East, LATANT community, all around the world. It's, there could be someone from OCE. Who knows? Because I haven't seen the 100-player list fully myself. But the possibilities for this game, especially of how it's gone on early so far, are endless.
Absolutely. And the job here now is to bring the problems to the table and solve them. Let's see how this is going to unfold in 10 seconds. Things will be determined. The fact or the fates will be decided. We'll know where players are going to have to make the big rotates toward. And here it is, OMG me, looking for that early game fight. Big tags too, they'll just rip up the shield from Ethical. We saw Ethical have a phenomenal early game start, but that's not going to matter right now as he gets all the loot stolen from him now by the Harpoon there. Nothing he can do about it either. He just backs up. He's already capped off. He's got a good share of it. I think he's pretty happy about that.
Yeah, he'll be looking fine right now. If you guys really haven't watched Fortnite before, especially competitively, it's less about getting all the loot that you want. At this point, you're kind of locked into the loot that you have. It's more about dealing damage wherever you can, expecting Storm Surge to be coming in. That mechanic's basically doing damage to you if you haven't done enough damage overall compared to everyone else in the server. So as soon as 5th zone locks in the half and half, if there's more than 50 people left alive, Surge will activate. If you haven't done enough damage, we'll start taking damage. A lot of players are just looking for tags around the entire map and zone right now. It's tricky though, because every time you open up, you might get shot yourself.
That is true. But now though, Daxter's got to make a big cross here. Snazy, I see flying across the sky. Great hunting rifle whiff right there. A quick whip shot. That's going to put some pause on some enemy pressure from behind. Nothing to worry about now as he's getting closer and closer to the zone here. There it is. Just to the south is going to be the major congestion. So many players have to cross their way up. And that's where the stacking is going to start happening. Let's not forget, that's a low river bend too. So it's natural low terrain here. So players all just muddied up down here. If half in, half out doesn't come down south, it's going to get weird. On the other side, though, looks like Daxter has someone transfer over off in the distance as he's in a box fight here. We're jumping in with Unknown, though. He's got control of these walls. He's on the other side of Daxter and crew.
On the bad side of the zone, though, man. Just look at the mini map on Unknown's screen. At the bottom, you can barely differentiate between arrows, and just on his screen as well, people are literally almost sharing boxes together because there's not much other places to move, and you want to be able to save as many materials as possible. So many options around Unknown. Which one will he take right now? Smelling white tags, seeing them on his screen. He chases down Kyra, and in the box, actually missing a few shots. Uncharacteristic from Unknown. Can he actually wrap it up, though? Moves back just a slight bit. As the replay catches up, we'll be able to see him confirm the elimination on Kyra. That's really good for him. Gets the refresh down, gets the materials he needed. He doubled his eliminations there, or it doubled his materials there overall, and now gets to move forward with such a good loadout for endgame.
That's what I was going to say. I was hoping that he'd be able to pick up the blue tactical shotgun that was laying there, and he does. Still left in the game, though, off in the distance here. I'm looking at Shark, Skittles, Bugha, Flick, Commandment still alive, Class off in the distance, as Unknown is just making work of Jamper here. And that's going to be his second elim now, capping off his loot, and finds a launch pad in the process. So such a major come up. Just look at that, Shia.
Yeah, the whole lobby right now. Flick is the one that we know has that shockwave loot. He's sitting somewhere near the center, so he's actually looking really good right now for this game. Commandment, though, he was on that council of people who were in the middle of the zone, looking really safe, looking really good. Has the crash pads too, to be able to just push himself way forward into this end game. And he's safe right now, but he took a lot of damage from so many people around him. Durant goes over. Coop was below just before. Slacks is all the way up top. I don't think he's got to make it into the finals, his old dual partner, but he'll be able to light that torch and push it through.
You can see here 4 placement points already given out to the competitors now as we break into that top 50. As the players drop, the placement points will continue to be given out from this point forwards. Let's see how it's going to look here. That wide shot just giving you the big picture of what's going down here. Day still alive as well in this game. Bully still alive too. Daxter there. And the zone actually favored the heavy pack. So this is why you're seeing so many players standing right now. 46 remaining, which means that we might just see another storm surge breakthrough sometime soon here. 28 seconds for players to drop. We'll see. It's going to favor into Commandment. Commandment, with the crash pads as well, can decide when and where he wants to rotate. Right above him is Jelty, though.
Oh my, from what I'm watching right now, this could be anyone's game. The one thing you can notice just with your ears is that even with your eyes now, there's not too many people shooting out anywhere. It's because of what Monster pointed out. Everyone really has the zone on their side. They're waiting for it to start moving, and that's when the action will start. More shots now taken off across the map. People start to rain down percussion of fire from all sides, from all angles. Jelty gets landed on almost by Snazy. He just passes right by. People are still waiting in their cones before moving. Thomas HD, Inspire, Calc, big names on the same side of the map. Commandment, though, will be the one without a launch pad, looking for one to refresh. Down below is Crumble as well, that we're going to be watching. But on the wide, you can see on the left side of your screen, people are still waiting before they move. This could go down to the very last second of this 6th zone. Who is going to be the one to control this endgame lobby?
I don't know, but seeing Commandment play for height right now is pretty scary. As you can see, he's looking for any kind of picks off in the distance. He's going to get landed on, though, and now forced onto the defense. On the other side, though, Crumbler on 3 elims already, fighting in his low ground. As we hop back over, Commandment trying to make the cross here, giving you guys the big picture. He's still playing for height. He's trying to set himself up for the victory condition here, and that is high ground, as we all know, with the textbook way to bring home the last dub. Medkit is going to be popped now. This is where he's going to have to start finding his frags, find some elims, get that siphon going in his favor. Deciding there if he wants to throw out the crash pad for a second. This is it. Time to rotate. Once again, look, no one's on hype for sure, though. They're all still playing super, super passive. Even Bugha fully boxed up on hype.
The maximum limit of players right now is 30, and it's staying at that limit. No more skirmishes, no more silliness. Everyone is absolutely serious at this end game, and no one's going down. Finally, one person does. It's Unknown Army taken out by Skittles. 29 now left. What a sticky lobby. It's so claustrophobic. There's nowhere to move. Everyone's just trying to survive. D-Gen is going for a breath of fresh air all the way up on height. 28 now. No one is going down, Monster. How is this possible? Another quick frag. Thomas takes out Slack's Commandment with a nice pick too. Zuky is waiting out, and D-Gen is still all the way uninterrupted. Assault, Chaz, Thomas all are trying to go for height now. It's complete chaos. I can't track it.
We're seeing big frags unfold now. Both perspectives, Zuky and Commandment going crazy right now. You can see 3 eliminations for both of the Witch. And let's not forget, in a solo setting, this is a lot. These are a bunch of frags. This is a bunch of points. With every player that falls now, placement is being given out to everyone in the lobby. So they're quite literally gifting away points to everyone right now. Commandment showing you guys that medkits can still work in the end game, fully healing up. And now he's back in the running like he never left. Tactical Shotgun only ramps up in strength as we get later and later in the games. And we're going to watch him put it to work just here shortly.
There's no way right now that there's about 17 to 18 people alive as the final zone is closing. One of the most stacked games. It's D-Gen that controls everything. Assault versus Bugha on low ground. Commandment jumps into the same box. They're all having a box fight as Thomas HD scores up high trying to get things down. Zuky throws out D-Gen and lands a few air shots. D-Gen is all the way back in the zone now. Pass going down to Zuki's landing. Oh my goodness. Thomas HD is still up top in the zone. I believe that's the shockwave launcher. Commandment is running house down on low ground. He takes out Bugha, Exor behind him, D-Gen on each side too. His final box, can he make this happen? No!
Oh, there it is. He was taken out. And now we jump in with Zuki's perspectives. He's going to walk through D-Gen. Can he get another one? Yes, he is. He's going to follow up onto Exor. The big frags, the big eliminations. 3 players remaining. Skittles on the low ground. Crumbler cranking his way up top. Just trying to get a little bit of distance because Zuky is on fire right now. And he's walking through players. Will Skittles be next? Sure is. He's stepping out to the side. There's the siphon that he needed. The one big shot, and it's going to keep him in the running now. The low ground peaks. He just doesn't miss at all. Not when it matters. Crumbler now waiting, pause, trying to find an opportunity here because Zuki's on a whole different level here. The low ground peak Shio, he's not missing at all. And another one for Zuky is going to connect onto Crumbler.
Oh my God, I would say one of the most impressive games I've ever seen of Fortnite, and it went down to the final 2 people who did not want to get taken out. What an absolutely insane game. I cannot wait to see even more right after this.
Absolutely. I mean, we're just talking about Zuky in a little break there, trying to do a little homework on him, and it turns out that this is one of his actually second only grand final appearances. His first victory he's ever taken in a grand final stage. So that in his own is a feat. It seems like Shio, he's only ramping up time and time again now.
Yeah, that game I think might have been one of the hardest to win off spawn all the way to the 9th zone. If I calculated it correctly, there were almost 20 people alive as the last zone was closing. That is the most difficult Fortnite gets, and it was Zuky out of everyone to stop Bugha, Commandment, multiple people on low ground, and then win it out against Crumble at the very end. I mean, just what a game.
I mean, the end game was amazing. The entire game was amazing. And we actually have a bit of the highlights to show you guys to remind ourselves what game number 1 of the grand finals was just happening.
There it is. This is the jump, the start, and how it all went down. The huge upset for P-God falling in the early game. Will he be able to make a comeback from that situation? Skittles, as always, stomping his way through. We saw him in the end game too, so we know he's on fire this time around. But wait a second, here we're having it. We're getting closer and closer towards that middle game action, and this is how the console was set up as we saw those middle game early positionings taking place.
Yeah, the biggest thing to note here is that we had pretty quick fights back to back, but there were just a lot of isolated 1v1s going on across the entire map. Just look at people who are 200 effective HP taken out in an instant. Whether it's another aspect snipe onto Crunchy or just the box fight and aerial fight with Bugha you see happening across the map. Once that end game started though, things changed and people started to slow down. Here's Epic getting that mythic loot, past that Commandment surviving layer to layer. People did not want to stop playing Fortnite.
Let's not forget the reason this all happens because the zone landed on the major congestion. So because of that, so many players were allowed to stay alive, hence making it so much more of a stacked endgame. And then first full moving pulled in their direction as well. So you're talking granting the entire lobby, half in, half out, and then full moving. You're in for a world of congestion right there. You saw, I mean, still phenomenal performance from Zuky. Low ground peaks, like just didn't miss it all.
Yeah, absolutely insane end game there. And let's actually take a better look at Zuky in his perspective for the end game to see exactly what was going on.
Yeah, so for over here, this is Zuky playing at kind of a middle ground layer. Complete panic and chaos all around him. I don't think any of these shots were really planned. Very reactive style, and that's very risky to play because you have to be taking fights proactively. Somehow, though, he found it and made it work all the way to that final 1v1.
Yeah, I mean, just look at his loadout. He had 2 shotguns somehow with 11 minis there. So you can tell whatever he could pick up, whatever he was getting, he was just going with it and then stomping through the enemies in the process. And you saw it, reactionary shots, just like you said. And it opens up and he was hitting them. But that's what happens. You have so many players, they didn't even have HP left.
Whew, Zuky doing well there. And let's actually see how he does in the leaderboard, everyone. Let's take a quick look at the top 20 leaderboard here. It is the top 100 players from our semifinals that are going to be competing. But to get first place in the first game definitely sets you up ahead of the rest. Zuky sitting in first place right there, not only with a victory royale, but with 8 eliminations, the most eliminations that we got to see in that game. But close behind him, it's none other than Commandment. Crumbler's going to be in third. That's where we saw the duel go off between Zuky and Crumbler in that end game. And then we have Xer in 4th, Skittles in 5th, and then look at that, Bugha in 7th place.
Yeah,
that was
from
my
what I
pick.
see here, that's Monster's pick. Not sure we stretch this completely, but regardless, Scrubs is there in 6th too. The big thing to point out once again is that Zuky is reacting to the best players, the fastest speeds in Fortnite, and winning, not only in eliminations, but overall placement too. I feel like no one else got more eliminations than him that last game. So 8 elims and that win gives him 100 points, a 15-point buffer above everyone else.
Well, I want to jump on this though. Let's not like discredit the fact that Commandment had 6 elims, right? If Zuky had 8 with 40 points, Commandment had 6. We typically do not see Commandment turn online in the grand finals. A game 1 6 elim pop off from Commandment. If he is feeling confident today, this guy is going to be scary, and we might actually see a Commandment top 5 finish on a grand finals day.